Billy Reeves here, welcome to Kscope 152, thanks for being there. In this edition, Thomas Anderson from Gazpacho talking about artificial intelligence and the future of music. Let's start off with the present though, new signing EMPYRE. EMPYRE, Parasites. That's the new single out now from the forthcoming album Relentless, out early next year. Now, before we talk half-speed masters and artificial intelligence with Thomas from Gazpacho, let's play this, Black Lily, which is heading towards 1 million streams on Spotify alone from March of Ghosts, one of the albums featured in Gazpacho's Half-Speed Masters reissue campaign.
So tired, all your eyes can black. Just want to make you laugh again. In that deep hollow dungeon, gloriously walk, a pilgrim of valiance. It's cold, warm as cloud, struck down in the middle of a little light. Star-spangled by the wayside as the trains roll by. Mercy, what can you do? Try to bring us sights. Clean air cannot heal you. Who's trying it
How are you? You look fantastic.
Thank you, sweetie. I'm terrible.
In what way are you terrible?
Because I don't know what the electricity prices are like over there, but over here that's damned expensive. And I live in an uninsulated 1920s summer house where the walls are so thin that when you stand in front of the window, you can feel, when the north wind is blowing, you can feel the wind on your face through the wall. So, but winter never did it for me. We get 4, 5, 6 hours of daylight now. It's going to get a lot worse. You know, it has that foggy Victorian Sherlock Holmesy London feel.
Yeah.
And you have to scrape the car of frost every morning. It's terrible. So I've every year towards the end of winter, I always ask, how in the hell did we even get through another one? Because why aren't we killing ourselves at the first sign of winter? Because it's just so damn depressing.
Is there a converse to that though? Because am I romanticizing the Norwegian experience? But is spring and summer spectacularly beautiful and light?
This is true. I would imagine it's the same thing as if you're in the desert and you haven't had anything to drink for a couple of days, then the first glass of water is going to be heavenly. So that is true. Spring and summer in Norway is amazing. But then again, I would probably think that they would be amazing all the time anyway. I'm sure the Spanish are pretty cool with, living in their temperatures, even though I heard that with the soaring price of electricity, I heard that businessmen weren't allowed to wear ties in Spain this summer because they need to turn down the air conditioning.
So do you get away from the worst of it? Does everything shut down, or do you hunker down?
No, we go to cabins in the mountains, and that's pretty nice. And you have a fireplace going, and you can sit inside and relax, and then go for skiing trips and stuff like that. That's pretty nice. So that's an escape, and also that's an insulated place, as opposed to my house, which is just, it's basically a glorified tent. So it is really freezing. I mean, my glass of water has been frozen during the night.
Crikey. Does this inform the music of Gazpacho, this environment?
No, I don't think it does, because it's the music of Gazpacho has always been a constant, and it's always been, I think, it's always had a touch of Arab and exotic music to it somewhere. So I don't think the music of Gazpacho is in any way connected to the Norwegian climate. I think perhaps you could say that Gazpacho is maybe one of those escapes that you were mentioning, in the sense that when you are in a dark and gloomy and very highly depressing place, then you can either get drunk or you can get creative, or both. In our case, we went for both, but I think it's probably more of an escape. I think what's been making things more difficult around music for me these last, say, couple of months is the advent of AI. Have you checked out the AI music making sites on the internet?
It's terrifying. AI anything is terrifying.
It is. One thing is the singularity, and when AI takes over, it will kill us all, as I'm sure it will. Of course it will. But what's it with the DALL-E images, the image generation?
Yeah.
I mean, I've been playing around with that, and it's amazing. Today I sent the guys in the band an image on DALL-E that I generated, which was a bowl of gazpacho soup destroying Earth. And it turned out pretty funny.
Are you concerned that those things are data harvesting tools?
I don't even care anymore if they data harvest, because they know everything anyway. Wherever you are, your phone is on. Did you ever talk about dogs with someone? All of a sudden, you're getting commercials for dog food on your phone.
Helen's just been looking at visiting our friends in Gran Canaria in February. Straight away, Instagram is giving me an advert for that chain of hotels.
You see, it's
two completely separate devices.
And they claim that they're not doing it. And I'm thinking, if they did it, they would make trillions. And if anyone was ever in a position where they could make trillions or not make trillions, there's a very high chance they went for the make trillions. So I don't care anymore. They're going to harvest us anyway. And if I put a bowl of gazpacho destroying Earth and DALL-E, I mean, I think my madness has been documented fairly well. So I don't think I'm surprising even the bots and whoever's watching this. But my problem with AI is it's sort of given me a scare regarding the creative process. Because if a machine can do it, when we grew up, there was the idea of the romantic starving artist. We all thought that, you had this starving, depressed genius, writing something in an attic in Paris somewhere with a baguette under his arm and 2 bottles of red wine with candles in them. And now I listen to some of the AI music. I can't remember what the site is called. I think it's called Area. And I put what you can do is you can put your own tunes in there, and it'll make something based on the mood or based on whatever it bases things off on. And I put a Gazpacho song in there from the Fireworker album, and it created a really beautiful piece. It didn't beat the piece I put in there, but maybe in 2 weeks it will. And that kind of got me thinking, why in the hell are we spending our lives putting all this energy into making stuff when the machine can generate it in 2 seconds, probably in a short while? And it felt... Also, I've been working on a novel. I'm thinking of writing a book. I have an excellent idea. So I've been dabbling with that. And I downloaded it's Grammarly. I don't know why. I think it's just because I'm an idiot when it comes to the little signs. What are they called? Apostrophes?
All right, punctuation.
Yeah, I still don't know how to do punctuation on these keyboards. I'm too stupid. Right, yeah. So in order to get the punctuation right, I downloaded Grammarly, and I looked at some other AI writing tools. And in one of them, I could write the first sentence, or I could write the plot of my idea for the novel. And the damn thing wrote 2 pages. And it was pretty good. And if I wanted to, I already know that there are people releasing AI-written books on Amazon. and they make simple, I don't know, romance novels or whatever the hell it is. But this has created for me almost a sense of not really knowing where all this is going and not liking it one bit. Which is weird, because you would think that the creation of great music, great books, great art, hell, go for it. I mean, we can never have too much. But it's that old romantic idea of the genius artist. I think, like certain classical pieces of music, become so much better when you know who wrote it and when they were written and why they were written and what it's supposed to be about. And if someone said, this is an AI, spat it out, in 2 minutes, something is lost, which doesn't make sense, because the piece of music will be identical, but something is still lost, and I don't know what is lost.
Exactly. I think from an artist's point of view, when you create something, you're partly diarising. So many people, when you ask them about a song or a piece or an album, they say, hey man, it just came out as it was, and it was how we were thinking at the time. So that's why you do it, because it diarises. Right. Secondly, if music is, it's interesting you should say that, because music is especially obsessed with authenticity, with knowing about the artist. And of course you now have the opposite of that with the likes of Morrissey, where they start to speak in a political tone that you don't like, so you cancel them, so you don't want to listen to their music because you now know so much about the artist. Roland Barthes wrote an essay exactly about this in 1968, about the artist being dead or alive, and there's a whether or not you should know anything about the artist or you shouldn't. And there's an experimental TV show being networked on Tuesday on Channel 4 as part of a new Channel 4 experimental streak that they're doing over the month, where a really famous comedian is going to destroy some art because it was either the piece is offensive or the person that painted it is. So all of those things combine for this obsession, especially with music, in authenticity, and I'm not sure that's healthy. But the one question I was really desperate to ask you was that should we have you and I celebrated Gazpacho 25 years in show business?
No, we haven't. I'm quite shocked that you didn't send wine or flowers or something, or just cash. Cash is fine.
Was it 96? Are you now over 25 years in show business? How on earth do you get on in a band, having been in the same group with the same people for 25 years? How have you changed?
We haven't changed at all. Apart from, we're growing old and our bodies are falling apart and we're slowly dying. But apart from that, then we just soldier on as we always have. And it's in a sense, I think it's because we all have jobs, normal day jobs, and that allows us to keep this. What I did learn when I got into ads, my day job is making the music for radio and TV ads. And what I did learn is that the moment you start making money off something, it stops being fun and starts becoming work.
Okay. Yeah.
So,
it's work, yeah.
So when I write music for ads or audio identities or jingles, I don't enjoy that for 1 second, trust me. But this also allowed the band to be this free area where we could still play around and have fun with making music that we liked. And I always used to joke that whenever I have to make a 5-second piece for social media, and they say, it needs to be really catchy, you need to be able to whistle the tune after you've heard it. And I say, well, in 5 seconds, there is no catchy song that's shorter than 5 seconds because you need time. Yeah. Look at an ABBA chorus, which is, ABBA is probably the catchiest band in the world. Nothing they have under 5 seconds that's catchy. It's impossible. And I always think that since it started with 30-second pieces back in the 90s when I started, and now we're down to 5-second pieces, 2-second pieces for social media, then I always joked that with Gazpacho it's the other way around. So we had songs that are 20 minutes, 25 minutes. I mean, when they were doing the remastering for some of the albums, one of the issues is that one song is too long for one side of a vinyl record, which is the polar opposite of these little jingles. But to answer your question, the 25 years have been possible because we've had day jobs that allowed us to keep this as a hobby that we approach with passion and not something we do because we need to pay the bills. And that also means that we haven't been stuck on a tour bus for 200 days a year, which is the perfect way to die of alcoholism and become mortal enemies at the same time, and also not get any songs written.
Yeah. Was it like that in the early days when you were young men? Were you dreamers thinking, we can do this for a living, we're the best band in the world, we'll never have to work again, ha-ha? Or were you always that pragmatic?
We were probably that pragmatic because we were already in pretty good jobs when we started doing the Gazpacho thing. So John was the marketing manager for a pharmaceutical company, and he was, back in the time when we made the Rava album, he was in the fantastic position of having a job where he didn't actually have to do any work at all and had his own office where he was the boss. So he used to sit there with his feet up playing guitar, and he spent all his time on what was then the young internet trying to promote our music and our stuff. That was probably the start of the growth of the band, because without the internet, no one would have known who we were. For that reason, there was never any talk of trying to become big rock stars, and we never tried to make hits. We always said that we make the music we like, and we follow the philosophy that if we like it, we're not that special, so then there's going to be someone else out there that likes it too. So that's how it started, and then it sort of snowballed and grew from there.
There is a different challenge to that, though, isn't there? I mean, the 3.5 minute pop song. If you take those rules that you have to fit inside a frame, then you have to be more creative. I mean, you're given a very wide canvas that you can throw paint over, but there would be a real challenge to do a 3.5 minute hit. And of course, there are within Gazpacho material, there are hits. Wouldn't that be great? Wouldn't it be great to do a Gazpacho album where every song is 3.5 minutes long?
I think
it has to have choruses and bridges.
Well, you see, now you're touching on the secret, because that's really difficult. It's very easy to make a long song, because especially one that doesn't follow any rules, because you have an idea, and then when you run out of that idea, you don't have to knock it into shape and make something good out of it. You can just stick a new section on and continue along your path, and then you just repeat the intro at the end and you're done. You have a genius prog piece.
Holy waters of the blackened sea, a gulf that separated you and me. The shadows as they weep, a dog will chase its tail. The beauty of creation's alien, the solitude is your relief.
What exactly are half-speed masters?
Vinyl is a material which is soft. The sound waves are hacked into the grooves of the record with a needle. When you do this at half the speed, much more detail will be allowed to come into the pressing because you're spending twice as much time to capture all the fine little nuances of the ups and downs of the audio signal. What we call the phases of the signal, wouldn't it? Because the phase pushes the push and the pull of the loudspeaker. So I think the theory of that is that half speed will create a much more detailed sound. Vinyl is probably, I think, for the connoisseur and the music lover, I think, has proved itself to be the winning format, I think, now for audiophiles. And I was about to say musicophiles. I don't know what the word is.
Yeah.
But,
audiophiles,
but not just audiophiles. I'm also saying people interested in not the sound quality, but the music itself. And again, of course, people our age, Mr. Billy, can't you remember buying albums and looking at the artwork and smelling it and cleaning it? And, you know, it's such a hands-on listening experience. And we thought that now with this Bravo album, it being reissued now, it's kind of a blast from the past. And I did listen to it now because we were having this conversation. I listened to it last night while having some red wine. And I was expecting a cringe fest of epic proportions. And I thought, oh my God, am I going to have to sit here and defend this to Billy and pretend that I like it when I think it's terrible? But when I listen to it, I think it's pretty good.
Within, be
From Bravo, Gazpacho, Sea of Tranquility. Before that you heard Defence Mechanism from Missa, Atropos, and before that Black Lily from March of Ghosts. And When Earth Lets Go, also part of this Gazpacho current half-speed Masters reissue campaign, and there'll be more to come. He's great, Thomas, isn't he? What an absolutely tremendous interviewee. I was going to play something from When Earth Lets Go, but instead, a little bit later on in this podcast, I'm going to close with another one of Thomas's AI experiments, an audio one. That's coming up at the end of this podcast. Now, I'm sure, like me, you've been enjoying the new O.R.k album. The group featuring Colin Edwin, formerly of Porcupine Tree, on bass, Carmelo Pipitoni, Pat Mastelletto of King Crimson and others, and Lef on vocals. Well, O.R.k's debut album is now out on vinyl for the first time, blue vinyl. It's called Inflamed Rides. And from said record, this is Pyre.
Chase that as if I'm gold. So spend the day on my load. Come on, bury me, or bury me with your fiery words. And round flies the dove, beating his wings. Oh, sunny day. Oh, sunny life. Did the grave just beat me out? Oh, sunny day. Oh, sunny life. Through the depths I find my way. Take me off to the place of my end. Though still can't help laughing through the crowd. Oh, sunny day. Oh, sunny life. Oh, shiny blue. Did the grave just beat me out? Oh, sunny day. Oh, sunny life.
O.R.k, Inflamed Rides, blue vinyl LP, that's entitled Pyre. Now, like Gazpacho, also getting the half-speed master treatment, Anathema, Hindsight, the album coming out on single vinyl for the first time, the classic One Last Goodbye.
How I needed you, how I bleed now you're gone. In my dreams I see you, I wake so alone. I know you didn't want to leave. Your heart yearned to stay, but the strength I always loved in you finally gave way, and somehow tell you how I feel in my dreams. I can hold you and it feels so real, but I still feel the pain. I still feel your love. I still feel the pain. I still feel your love. And somehow I knew you could never stay, and somehow I knew you would leave me. And in the early morning light, after a silent, peaceful night, you took my heart away. Oh, I wish you could have stayed.
Anathema, One Last Goodbye from the Half a Speed Master of Hindsight. Right, thank you very much for listening. Do please like, share and comment wherever you find the Kscope podcast, and do please tell your friends, and let's support these wonderful independent artists. I'm going to finish with a massive curveball as Christmas is coming. Bear with me on this. Now, Thomas Anderson from Gazpacho was talking earlier on about AI experiments. He loaded in to an AI plugin much of the music of a very famous group to see what would happen, to see if the artificial intelligence could write a typical song, a hit song by said group. And I'm going to play a bit of it for you now. It's pretty terrible, but your duty is to try and guess the group that the AI is trying to mimic here. And I'll tell you in the next Kscope podcast, the Christmas special. Billy Reeves out. I'll speak to you soon. Ta-ta.